My name is Marina Filiba. I go by Maru. I'm a sophomore in Yale College. I've been living in the States for a year now, and I'm originally from Buenos Aires, Argentina. So yes, I was a delegate for the iLive2Lead delegation. I was a participant in their summit the first year, so I was sort of the pioneering generation for them. And as part of a group of girls that had participated in their summits throughout the years, we participated in the forum, being scattered through different panels, bringing some sort of youth participation to the forum and some sort of perspective that someone who is still at university and who is transitioning into the workplace can bring. I was a panelist at a panel where we were discussing whether tomorrow's leaders would see leadership differently. I was there with other 4 participants, if I'm not wrong. There was an Israeli, a girl who is American Indian who started Women's Empowerment Initiative. There was also an Australian Indian girl who was advocating for climate change. And finally, the 4th one was an American writer who had started writing about activism. I think that the main conversation always circled around the stereotypes that surround people our age and whether we believe that those were true or not. I feel that there's a lot of pressure on young women these days to step aside from the stereotypes in terms of us being vain and focusing on trivial matters. So all of us there were coming together, trying to fight back. There was also a lot of initiative put and a lot of emphasis put on how people our age could get involved, because lots of times different activist groups and different organizations are seeking people that can actually transition to work for them and not necessarily just volunteer. So it's interesting to see how people ranging from the ages of 15 all the way to their 30s could get involved without having it be a full-time job. Well, it's been a crazy year. Adjusting into the university scheme, I think that the forum was great preparation for the things that came later in the year. I got the opportunity to speak at a TED event here on campus. I've also been involved with a charity organization that I'm working for. It's called the I Am Challenge, where we encourage young people to take a stand against materialism by taking on the challenge of wearing the same 10 shirts for a whole year with their names on it. I've been overseeing the international side of things, and we've managed to expand to over 13 countries, which was a big progress. Other than that, I've been mainly focusing on university, which is a priority for me right now, and had the opportunity to get some work experience back in Argentina at the beginning of the summer. I think that Generation Y women tend to be overachievers. I think that all of a sudden a lot of stereotypes that used to surround us in terms of having to follow our male counterparts have faded, and that gives way for a lot of opportunity. But like any child with a brand new toy, we tend to seek too much. So I think that it's very hard for us to balance our priorities, whether we truly do want to focus on family. A career is no longer a one or the other question. So we're trying to embark on the challenge of taking it all at once can be quite tough on women these days. I think that as well as being overachievers are also very open-minded. I think that women this generation were raised in a period of lots of changes, where those are social movements as well as tragedies like 9/11 and other things that happened in the past few years. So I believe that that brought about an open-mindedness that wasn't there before, or at least women weren't a part of the awareness that has gone around those things before. I think that it's time for us to step aside from the competition with males. I think that it's no longer a race between one or the other. It's about embracing the attributes that come with being a woman and understanding that there are things that they're going to be better at, in the same way that our emotional intelligence also plays a role in making us stronger in other ways. So I definitely believe that we should focus on our strengths rather than try to make up for our weaknesses, and also focus on a path of action rather than spread ourselves too thin. By choosing what it is that we want to prioritize at a certain moment in our lives, we're going to go far further than by trying to achieve different things on different levels at the same time. Well, in 5 years, I would have recently graduated, which is a scary thought considering I'm still in the beginning years. I think that by then, I would definitely want to be working for a larger corporation, because I know that later in the future I want to start something on my own. But rather than do that from minute one, I would rather work for someone and really learn from their practices, learn from their mistakes as well as their successes, and just take the experience that I have as an international student and as someone who has migrated abroad and try to reconcile that with the American society or whatever it is that I'm going to be living at that time. I think that Argentina, though, compared to other parts of South America, is quite progressive. I think that in various ways you can still tell that it's a very male-oriented society. So unfortunately, education is not widely spread, and it is a reality that the greater part of the population, specifically women, tend to conform to having large families and then doing what they can to see them survive. So unfortunately, that isn't very comparable to what's happening here in the States, where women are given equal opportunities. Having said that, I think that in Argentina it's very different to look at the rest of the country than looking at Buenos Aires in particular. Buenos Aires in particular is very similar in various ways to other Western countries, not only the States, in the sense that there are various schools that are for women only, in the sense that they want to prioritize the education of girls, and they're really pushing for them to insert themselves into the university level education and pursue other goals other than just families. I think that it's a great opportunity that the Women's Forum is putting out there for women to really hear each other's voices. But I also think it would be interesting to see more male voices comment on the role of women. I think that it's very easy for us to blow up this big bubble of what we think about each other, but a male perspective on how they perceive the path that women are taking, I think, would be very interesting as well.